friends, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you the magic of why some kitchens work and some kitchens don't. Do you ever wonder, some people's kitchens just seem to flow, and do you ever just think to yourself, what are they doing that I'm not? Well, today I'm going to show you. It's the magic of zoning. Zoning your kitchen is just organizing it into zones, and it just makes things flow. Let me show you. So first we're going to start off with the dishwasher zone. Here is our kitchen. As you can see, it's good size, but we do not have a pantry, but we have lots of cupboards, so we're easily able to make this space work for us. Now, I typically don't have flowers all over my kitchen area. I spent the month of September battling COVID, which turned into COVID pneumonia, and my husband and some very dear, sweet people in my life decided to cheer me up for my birthday last week. Here is my dishwasher. Now, if you don't have a dishwasher, the same rule applies, but it applies to your kitchen or dining room table wherever your family eats your meals. So our table is right here. So this, for our situation, this same setup works. Okay, so for your dishwasher, you're going to put all of your things nearby that go in the dishwasher. So you've got your dishes, you've got your glasses. Okay, when you're unloading the dishwasher, it's very quick and easy to put the items right back into the cupboard right above them. Also, food storage containers. You take your food storage containers, you put them right up there from the dishwasher. It's quick, easy, just a step away. Okay? Another thing is the silverware drawer. Now, with our utensil drawer, one thing I absolutely recommend is drawer dividers. I cannot overstate this enough. By using dividers, you allow everything in your kitchen to have a home. This is so very important because this is what keeps clutter away. Everything in this drawer is divided into sections. You've got silverware, serving utensils, preparation utensils, you've got your sharps, anything with a blade is in this section here. We've got miscellaneous items. Their home is in these two sections, and we have a little office caddy here. It pulls out. These are all separate, and I got this set at Walmart, and I bought a few, loved it, bought a few more, loved it, and I just kept measuring and filling my space. I literally just got them at Walmart, but they are super functional, and if you know anything about me, I like functional. So definitely can't say enough about that. Now we have this little office caddy here. We have two places in our home where we have office supplies, and one is our desk and one is this kitchen drawer. So we always know where to find these items. So in summary, with your dishwasher zone, you've got your dishes and glasses, you've got your food storage, and you've got your silverware drawer. These are all close to the dishwasher, so as soon as you're emptying the dishwasher, you're just a step away. It's quick, easy, saves you tons of time. As well as when you go to set the table, these items are just a couple steps away from the table when you're setting the table for dinner. Again, saving you time, and we all want to do that. Okay, so the next zone we're going to talk about is the baking zone. I've got that right here next to the stove. We'll start with this cupboard. Now, in this cupboard, I've got my small baking dishes that I use all the time. I've got my mixer. I've got my bundt pan, and if you watch The Minimal Mom, you know that it's time to make our pumpkin spice bundt cakes. Also, back in the corner, I've got a small crock pot that I don't use it all the time, but I have it there out of the way. It doesn't fit in my small appliance cabinet. Then on the bottom shelf, we've got our sugars and our flours for baking. And I also have a rolling pin. And way up top, I have a couple of pitchers and an ice bucket that I can't reach that I use when we have company and I get a step stool. on to the next cupboard. Now this cupboard has a lot of my favorite hacks in it. Now, I put my measuring cups up here on these little command hooks, and I kept my favorite set of measuring cups, but for my second set, I only needed the 1 cup, so I donated the rest, and I kept the 1 cup, so I have exactly what I need. Another favorite hack, I went to the dollar store and I got a sippy cup, and I took off the lid and I just drilled a little hole, and I took another command hook and I literally just popped it on there. It's wonderful. Another hack is these dual measuring spoons. I got these at Walmart years ago. If you do not have these and you love to cook and bake, you're missing out. I used to have 2 sets, so I had 8 pieces of measuring spoons to keep track of. No more. I've got 4. They've got an oval or a round, so they'll fit into any container that you're measuring out of. You can have a dry and a wet. When you're cooking and baking, you're not washing them all the time. These are wonderful. Okay, another hack. So I'm not very tall and it's hard to get to the top shelves, but when I get on my tippy toes, I can reach up. And I got these baskets at the Container Store. Again, I got them years ago, but they have handles on them. So I like to put my macadamia nut? I like to put my extra nuts and chips for baking, my little nuts for making cheese balls. These fit in there so nicely. And as you can see, I don't put other stuff back there because I can't reach it. So I only have things there in the baskets that I can use, and I have my zucchini bread pans. We make a lot of zucchini bread, so I have my baking pans there. But the rest, there's nothing on the rest of the shelf because I can't reach it. So it's just, that's what's on that top shelf. Now, this shelf here, I used, again, years ago at Walmart, I got just a shelf rack, and I put my aprons, my hot pads, my dishcloths, and my dish towels here, and that's all that I have. And remember, being a minimalist is about reducing the amount of things that you have to what you can easily manage. And so you'll see that over and over in our home. So those are there, they're easy to manage. Okay, so now down here, one of my all-time favorite hacks. Let me move these so you can see it better. I got this years ago at the Container Store. Do you see a theme here? It is an expandable spice rack, and it expands from one end of the cabinet to the other. Let me move this closer so you can see. So what you do is you recognize your prime real estate, and you put the things in the front that you use all the time, and the things that you use rarely or less frequently in the back. And with prime real estate, with everything in your kitchen, the things you use all the time go in the front, and you work your way to the back, the things you use less often. I can reach in this cabinet, get any spice I want, super easy, know where it's at. This is a game changer. Everybody should have an expandable tiered shelf rack, spice rack. This thing is amazing. Now for my baking pans, I store them under the kitchen sink on one side. I got this little pan holder at Walmart many years ago, and everybody has these now, but they're super functional. They hold all the baking pans that I use, and I even tuck my little dish mat off to the side there. I use that to dry dishes when I hand wash them. Okay, so now I'm on this side of the stove, and I'm going to show you my couple other baking things that I have. So down in this cupboard, I have all of my mixing bowls. Now, this obviously is a colander, but all of my mixing bowls, I am not kidding. I literally just use a few tried and true. I can mix anything in these. They stack. I nest them in here and put them on the shelf. Okay, Now, one other thing that I do have down here, I keep 3 9x13 pans and 1 pan a little bit larger than them. These are pans that I use all the time. These, keep in mind that we had 4 children, and I have always been used to cooking and baking in large quantities, and I still haven't been able to pare that down. So very often I will make large quantities and then just freeze it into smaller meals for us to reheat, or I will give it to friends or neighbors. Now, in this drawer under the stove, we keep our pots and pans, and we used to have so many more, but we have pared it down to what we use and need, and it really just frees up so much space in the kitchen. Also, back here in my baking cupboard in the corner, I have a Lazy Susan with miscellaneous baking items, my baking cups and sprinkles and food colorings and things like that. I keep that tucked away in my baking cupboard. I forgot to show you that. Okay, now to summarize the baking zone, it's all around the stove area. So right up here is where I have my mixer and my canisters with my flours and sugars. Right here is my baking cupboard where I have my measuring spoons and cups, my spices, my extra baking things. And then right down here under the sink is where I have my baking pans. Right in the drawer beneath the stove is where I have my pots and pans. Right beside the stove is where I have my mixing bowls. And then right one cupboard over is where I have my large baking dishes, the 9x13s, and the one right beside it. And in keeping everything zoned around the stove area, and I do all my mixing right here, it just makes things so much simpler. Oh, I did forget to point out, right here, I have my utensil drawer. Here, I'll show you. Our cooking utensil drawer is right beside the stove. Again, I use drawer dividers from Walmart. Cannot say enough about them. They give everything in your kitchen a home, and it keeps everything so organized. Now, as you see in the back of the drawer there, we have the turkey baster, which we use once or twice a year, but it has a home. We have our candy thermometer that we use at Christmas time. It has a home. Then over here, to the right, we have the lighters that we use to light candles. They have a home. Even miscellaneous items need a home in your kitchen. I just cannot say enough about that. If everything has a home, your home will stay organized. This is my small appliance cupboard. Now on the top shelf, I have some to-go food containers. I have my large strainer that I use when I'm doing fruit and vegetable prep. The arms expand across the sink, and it just makes the job so much easier. On the bottom, I have my George Foreman grill, my blender, my electric knife, my large crock pot, my food processor, and my popcorn popper. Also in the back, I have a large pot to cook corn in the summer. Now, I may downsize this in the future, but for now, we use these, and so this is what I keep. Okay, so now in summary for the small appliances, we keep them down here at the end of the cupboard, next to the dining room area. Something to keep in mind, these are things that we don't necessarily use every single day, but obviously we use them and want them. So we keep them here at the end of the kitchen, out of the way. We don't put them on the other side of the kitchen, which is prime real estate next to the fridge, the stove, the sink. So we keep them over here, out of the way, away from the prime real estate area. That's really important to remember when you're trying to situate where your things go. Things that you don't use all the time, don't put in your prime real estate areas. So now I want to talk about our paper products. We keep them in the small cupboard above the microwave. We got these little bins at the dollar store, and so we put our paper products in them. We also have those 2 bowls in the middle. Those are chip bowls that we use when we have company, and these are items we don't use very often, so we kind of keep them up out of the way above the microwave. So another zone that we have is kind of a miscellaneous zone, the bottom shelf of the food storage cupboard. On the left, we have our supplements and medications. Beside that, we have 2 containers to hold our phone chargers because we charge our phone here every day. Beside that, we have the crock with our crackers in it for when we eat soup. This cupboard is right beside the table, so it's real quick, easy to get. And then we have a bin from the dollar store where we have our plastic spoons, forks, and napkins. And again, when we have company, these are quick, easy to grab, close to the table. So that's just kind of a miscellaneous zone, but again, it's giving everything a home. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about Pantry Zone. So to the right of our stove, these top cupboards are one of our pantry zones. These bins I got at a dollar store, and the little label things I got there as well. It just helps separate the salties, the sweets, and the nuts. We have our coffee maker for when our girls come home on the top right shelf. But yeah, this is just a real simple, we just separate like things together. This is one of our pantry areas. Another one of our pantry areas is the set of cupboards just below that. On the right side of the stove, we've got pantry items on the left side. We've got our cereals on the right side. And I would just like to point out also, behind those 9x13 dishes, we have several miscellaneous platters and dishes that we use for the holidays. Again, just giving things a home. We've got them tucked way in the back because we only use them for the holidays. But it's just important for everything to have a home in order for your home to stay organized. Now, the last cupboard in my pantry zone in this home is this corner cupboard, and it's a Lazy Susan. It is by far the most difficult space to organize in this entire home. I've come to detest corner Lazy Susan cupboards. I have organized and reorganized this many times with many products. This is my latest attempt. I got these triangular bins, I believe, at Amazon recently. So it's my latest attempt. But yeah, we store a lot of our dry goods in here and bread. And you know, here I've got like my baking, my sprays, my olive oil, my vanilla, salt, cocoa. And over here I have my cookbook and my recipes, and I have them separated into 3 different folders of entrees, sides, and desserts. And it took me a long time to pare down. I could not part with cookbooks, and I finally realized that that was just wasted space. So I took out my favorite recipes of the cookbooks, and I let the cookbooks go all but one. And so this is my cookbook recipe section right here. And I've got my teas and cider and hot cocoa, and all our dry goods are in here. So that sums it up. We've got those 3 cupboards for our pantry zone. Okay, so we've got this corner cupboard beside the stove, and then we've got this top set of cupboards and part of this bottom set of cupboards on this side of the stove, and that makes up our pantry zone. We have a drawer beside our fridge, and that's where we keep all of our baggies and wraps, and that is also home to our penny dish and our change dish. We also keep our toothpicks and our oven thermometer as well as our fridge thermometer in there. And again, just by putting a little plastic container in there, it just gives it a home. There aren't miscellaneous things just laying around. Everything has a home. We also have our under the kitchen sink zone. We have our Culligan water filter, our cutting boards, our trash bags, our bleach spray for the kitchen, our dish soap, and then we have our dishwasher soap as well as our jet dry finish for the dishes in the dishwasher. And then we have a few different scrubby brushes and pot scrubbers as well. So I'd like to hear from you. What are the trouble spots in your kitchen that give you the biggest challenge? And also, what were the most helpful tips on this video for you? Let me know in the comments below. So another thing I want to tell you about is the prime real estate. As you're setting up your zones, everything from your eye level to your waist level is prime real estate. That's where you're going to put the items that you use the most. And that's going to be so helpful when you're going to reach for things through easy access. So definitely keep that in mind as you're setting up your zones. My last thought is there are two things you need to have your kitchen functioning and flowing well. And number one is zones, because the zones just make everything flow well. And then decluttering. It doesn't matter how much you organize in your kitchen, you cannot organize clutter. And so you've got to pare down the amount of inventory in your kitchen to a good amount that makes your kitchen easily flow. And we'll talk about that more in future videos. But keep that in mind. You need zones and you need to declutter. Get that kitchen into shape. Can't wait to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.